So what you guys have already completed is a draft of Section 2, the investigation. This is the hardest part of the internal assessment and worth the most points. What we're moving on to right now is Section 1, which is your identification and evaluation of your sources. So what do you need to do for Section 1 in order to score a good amount of points? Let's jump down to, first of all, the length and what are the points on this. So your IA, again, maximum is 2,200 words. Anything over a word limit on any of your IB assessments, essentially the person who grades it has to act like those words do not exist. So if you write a 2,300 word history IA, your last 100 words don't count. They're not there. So be very careful that we are staying within the word limit at the end of the day. The rest of these here are suggested word allocations. So 500 for Section 1. You could be at 400, 600. It depends on how you write, but you want to be around that number. And this is going to be 6 out of your 25 marks, which, if you do the math, comes out to 24% of the grade on your IA. And that may not seem like a lot, but bear in mind that the past few years, around 40% of the total points in IB has gotten a 4 in history. So any percent of points actually does matter a lot, right? This is not your high school grading system where 70% is a passing score. IB is structured a bit differently. And so for IB history, again, changes year to year, but somewhere around 40% is what you're going to need in order to get that passing score. Obviously, the higher percent, the better. Do not aim for 40%. You want to be getting the most points you can. But the reason I'm bringing this up again is 6 marks may not seem like a lot, but it really does matter. So, Section 1. Let's jump down to the bottom section on the rubric. What are the things you're being graded on? First, an appropriate question for the investigation has been clearly stated. Your research question goes in Section 1, right at the beginning of the paper, not Section 2. Right? So this should be the first thing you have. Next, the student has identified and selected appropriate and relevant sources, and there's an explanation of the relevance of the sources to the investigation. So you're going to be explaining why the sources that you chose for Section 1 are relevant to your research question. Why are they good sources to use? And the next part here, this is what you guys are familiar with. This is your paper 1 stuff. Value and limitation of 2 sources with reference to origin, purpose, and content. So we're going to hit for full points. What you guys really want to do is give value for origin, purpose, and content, and limitation for origin, purpose, and content. So for each source, you're going to give 3 values and 3 limits. Make sure you're hitting across the board to make sure that you're getting all of those points. Now we're going to jump to the exemplar, take a look at what that looks like, give you guys an idea of what your paper, your Section 1 on your IA paper is going to end up looking like at the end of the day.